Hello and welcome to Untwisted Threads. This is Sandnes Garn Kos. This 62% alpaca, 29% nylon, and 9% wool yarn features 32 colors. The colorway that we chose is 6053. This 50-gram skein with 150 meters or 161 yards works up as a medium or worsted weight yarn. The suggested gauge on a US 9 or 5.5 millimeter needles is 18 to 16 stitches per 4 inches or 10 centimeters. For our swatch, I will be using a 4.5 millimeter needle size. In today's video, we're going to review and score Sandnes Garn Kos using our 5 categories, which are availability, softness, traction, durability, and cost, to help you decide if this is the best yarn for you in your next project. Stay tuned until the end for a few pattern recommendations as well. Would you like to feel a sample of our top picks out of over 100 yarns that we have reviewed on this channel? Click the link below to get your free specialty yarn card, knitting patterns, and more. Let's get started. For availability, we give Kos a score of 3 out of 5. Sandnes Garn is a Norwegian brand, but it is still very loved here in the States. Unfortunately, this one is not sold on any larger craft websites, but that just means that you can support smaller shops online like Wool & Company. It appears that this yarn may not be one of their most popular, as only a few US shops carried it because it didn't compare popularity-wise to Sunday or Tin Silk Mohair. For softness, we give it a score of 4.2 out of 5. Can I first say that this yarn reminds me of the blue furry monster named Grover from Sesame Street? That really made me laugh. Back to the yarn though, so this one is kind of soft, but also kind of not. I couldn't tell from a distance, but it is in fact a blown yarn, just a little bit more dense than I was expecting. It also wasn't as bouncy as other blown yarns, so that was a little bit disappointing too. For a comparison, it is softer than Sandnes Garn Duo and not quite as soft as Cascade Yarn's Cantata. I'd say it's pretty comparable to Sandnes Garn Double Sunday. For a micron count or softness scale rating, we'd estimate it to be about a 23, so not quite your typical merino softness wise, but still far softer than the average Peruvian Highland wool. We definitely don't believe it to be as soft as some other alpaca yarns that we have felt, but we wouldn't necessarily consider it to be rustic either. This yarn was constructed differently than a plied or twist style yarn. As I mentioned, this is what is called a blown yarn. It is produced with a special spinning machine. It is described as a fairly complicated process, but more simply put, loose fibers are blown into a mesh tube, in this case a nylon tube. The fibers end up sticking into the tube, creating the bulk of the yarn, while the longer fibers stick out of the tube, creating a super fluffy look and making it fairly lightweight. I do want to mention that the blown structure of this yarn is a darker black color, so if you get a lighter colorway of this yarn, the tube may be a lighter color. For traction, we give it a score of 3.5 out of 5. Since this yarn wasn't as bouncy, it was a little slow moving for me working with it. It wasn't irritating, there was just a lot of fibers moving through my hands, and my needles did get caught in between those fibers. Plus, it didn't help that the fibers were sticking together to itself. No, I wouldn't recommend wooden needles for this one, even if you are a beginner, and I would keep a close watch on your needles and stitches to make sure that you're knitting the whole strand of yarn and not just the fluff. For durability, we give it a score of 4 out of 5. Blown yarns are typically considered to be more durable than many types of yarn because of its mesh tube. The tube holds the fibers in place so it won't split when working with it. However, this durability can vary on what type of project you use the yarn for and its fiber content. Kos in particular has a pretty large amount of nylon, which is a material that was created to replace silk in the 20th century. And its main fiber, alpaca, is of course also durable. The strand of yarn itself did come apart when pulling on the mesh tube at the end, so maybe just don't do that. When it came to the stress test, we noticed a few very small pill balls, mostly just extra fluff came out. For cost, we give it a score of 2.6 out of 5. For being a 50 gram skein, you can expect to pay $14 US per skein. That breaks down to about 8 cents per yard, meaning a size medium sweater quantity would cost approximately $84. Overall, we give Sandnes Garn Kos a score of 3.46 out of 5. Maybe if this yarn had some more bounce and softness, I would be more excited to work with it again. But maybe that sturdiness would keep your project from stretching out over time, which is a huge plus. Don't get me wrong, it also has beautiful colors and some nice strength, but I do think that I would just prefer a different blown yarn to this one. So we had a little look on Ravelry and wanted to share a few pattern recommendations with you, hopefully to inspire you if you're wanting to use this yarn for a project of your own. The first pattern is the Daydreamer cardigan by Veronika Lindberg. It comes in 9 sizes with finished bust measurements ranging from 40 3/4 to 67.5 inches and recommends 6 to 12 inches of positive ease. It suggests using a US 6 and 8 or 4 and 5 millimeter needle size and the half fisherman's rib stitch to meet gauge. This cardigan is worked seamlessly from the top down. It features the squishy half fisherman's rib stitch, making this a fairly lightweight piece. It also includes raglan yoke shaping and balloon sleeves. The next pattern is number 2 Chunky Marius Lady by Sandnes Design. It comes in 3 sizes with finished bust measurements ranging from 42.5 to 52 inches and recommends positive ease. It suggests using a US 13 or 9 millimeter needles and 1 strand of this yarn and 1 strand of brushed alpaca to meet gauge. The pattern comes with 2 different constructions. Version A is top down and version B is from the bottom up. Both versions feature short row shaping at the top of the yoke to form a deeper neckline in the front. It is a seamless, oversized, round yoke sweater with a large colorwork section. The last pattern is the Alma pullover by Sari Nordlund. It comes in 9 sizes with finished bust measurements ranging from 34 1/4 to 67 3/4 inches and recommends 4 to 6 inches of positive ease. It suggests using a US 8 and 10 or 5 and 6 millimeter needle size to meet gauge. It is knit seamlessly in the round from the top down, starting at the neckband. The neckband is knitted in 1x1 ribbing and folded double at the end. The sleeves and body are separated at the underarms and knit separately. The back is shaped with short rows to give a little bit more length and to improve the fit. Sari suggests that this is a very beginner-friendly pattern and could make a good first sweater project. Have you used Sandnes Garn Kos yarn before? What yarn would you like for us to do a review on next? We would love to hear your thoughts and recommendations in the comments below. And if you enjoyed today's review, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.